know, they've been taken out of their general operating budget, and the seniors' trips are now run out of the, the special revenue fund as well. Celebrate East Lyme and the upcoming Winterfest and Light Parade is run through the special revenue fund. So we're very active now in all the community events, special events, which we should be. And then some new program offerings, just to kind of give you a head, just, the new turf field has really been advantageous to us too. In that once June 18th comes around, Park and Rec was responsible for scheduling that field through August 18th, and then it goes back over to the Board of Education. So we were able to offer a football clinic, we were able to offer a girls lacrosse clinic, we were able to offer a women's lacrosse league. Soccer club used it this summer. So as far as not only high school sports being able to take advantage of it, I think that field's working out tremendous with that partnership, and that Park and Rec is able to use it during the summer months and when the school's not using it. So that's, I know we talked about that going through the whole process of that. Just want to make you aware that that did happen and has been a really good partnership to date. So, just some other things that are run through I have listed there for you. And I'm very pleased with it. Anna and her office has been great with it, and my staff does a really good job of keeping things under control with our special revenue funds.
Your staff prepares the report, and Anna oversees and administers everything.
Correct. Right. Correct. And then Anna and my staff will sit down and we'll make sure that our numbers jive out. I think we do that once a year and try to get forward. And Debbie in our office and Anna are in contact quite a bit. So.
Okay. Good. I think you're doing an excellent job, and I agree it has done what we expected it to do, to get all those program fees and things that we paid teachers and instructors and gymnasts to provide out of the regular budget, because they didn't belong there, and allowing some of the funding to go there. So that's good. Any questions or comments? Rob, we'll start with you.
No, it's exactly what we thought, and probably
Yes.
beyond that.
Yeah. Seems to be operating smoothly and very well, so thank you.
Mr. Siri?
Everything that's already been said.
Ms. Hardy?
Dave, you're everywhere. I mean, it's Parks and Rec used to be, down at Brydebrook Park, pretty much, and some basketball. You're everywhere. I mean, you're now involved to celebrate East Lyme and the Winterfest, etc. And the programs continue to grow, which is the direct result of the special fund. I have the pleasure of being ex officio to the Parks and Rec Committee, and on occasion I can get over there, and the attention to detail and the hard work that your committee puts in, the commission puts in, is remarkable and understated, but not undervalued for sure. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
You know how I feel.
All right.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Next item would be the Commission on Aging. There's a request for $473.67 expenditure from the Para House Fund. As you know, that fund is administered by the Commission on Aging and Kathy Wilson, but approved by this board. You see the three items: photo development for 62 frames for the photos, and creation of collage, all to support the 90+ T, which I went to. It was a great, I went there only as a 30th anniversary before I could eat there. But I went there to talk, but I do get closer. So that's what this is for.
I'll move to approve the listed expenditures from the Para House account in the amount of $473.67 for the 90+ T.
Second.
Made and second. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose or abstain? Next item is a motion to approve the use of $911.38 from the McCook Trust account to help fund and offset the final total cost of playscape enhancements, Phase 2, at McCook's Park.
Well, I'll move to approve the expenditure of $911.38 from the McCook Trust Fund to help offset the total cost of Phase 2 of the playscape enhancements at McCook Point Park.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Mr. Wilson, is there discussion?
Phase 2, is Phase 2 the end? Is there a Phase 3? Where are we in the enhancements? We have you here, Dave.
There are 3 phases to the program, but right now, this will be phase 2, and I'd imagine we'll come back in the capital improvement funding for phase 3, but there is a phase 3, whether it gets funded or not.
So where
There
we
is
are,
plans on it.
so through phase 2, the playscape and consists of, this was just to finish off what's there now?
Right, correct. We did phase 1 already. It was a new playscape behind the lower bathrooms. This is gonna be adding on to the existing one across from the sidewalk,
Mm-hmm.
and a pretty significant playscape. The one that's there was built in 1993, and really has served its usefulness, even though we'll continue to use it, but it is a very, very heavily used area.
Mhm.
So this would be the phase 2 of that.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Thank you very much. The next item is the Woodsman Trust, and Mr. Ellis is here to make a presentation to us about that. Attorney Block will kind of act as the moderator, and I'd like for the record that Attorney Collins left and is not present in the meeting at this time. And I would ask for your indulgence, Mr. Ellis. I would ask for your indulgence, Mr. Ellis, because I would like to do one thing before we get to you. I would like to ask the registrars to come up, and we'll get rid of the emergency contingency plan. This is an item that this board has already approved, but due to, after we approved it, it went back to the state. They made one sentence in modification, and so we must reapprove. Then if you guys want to stay and listen to the Woodsman Trust and the bamboo issue, you're welcome to. But this might give you an opportunity to get out of here. So, all right, do you mind if we move that? Hold Mr. Ellis for now and go to 3C. Would that be all right with everybody?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you, I believe there's just one small change. If you want to just tell us what that is and.
It's really housekeeping, you know, they had, they wanted us to, re-describe some of our, issues in other paragraphs, that's all I can say. So we just moved some information that was in one part of the plan to another section, and there were 3 spots we did that. It doesn't say anything any different, it just is a further explanation of how we're going to handle, a loss of a poll worker or, a disaster, a power outage, and, we discussed, you know, that we will have, building the backup generators and
We have this here. Are the changes, which is on the last page, just that one sentence of underline in the page before regarding weather and natural disasters. So we have there, those are the changes, the power outage change. So, again, we've approved this, I believe, 2 or 3 meetings ago, and
they just asked that we change it and then come back to you.
so we need to dot the I and cross the T here. Is there any discussion, or do you want to have a motion while we're?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the amended emergency contingency plan for the elections for East Lyme.
Second.
Made and seconded. Discussion? Anything further you'd like to add under discussion? All those in favor
Aye.
indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Somebody?
No, it was Mark said something.
Oh,
No, I think it was Rob.
okay. All right, so we are unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ellis, for your courtesy, so that we could get that done. The Woodsman Land Trust discussion has come. Mr. Ellis contacted me and asked that if he could meet and speak with me regarding a proposal that he would like to give the Board of Selectmen. I thought it made sense, instead of meeting with me, to come here in open forum and discuss it to the Board of Selectmen. We are under some pending litigation that had been touched upon in the fringes of a previous discussion regarding that. I've made Mr. Ellis aware that we, as a board, cannot speak or respond to any pending litigation, and any proposal that he's gonna make must keep that separate. And Mr. Block is here to make sure that, as the overseer of that litigation, to make sure we don't run afoul. So, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Formica. I gave Mark a
If
copy.
you go to the microphone, just so.
Thank you. I
if
gave
you'd like
Mark
to
a
sit
copy
down, I
of
can
my
move the
remarks.
microphone over.
I gave Mark a copy of my remarks that I'm gonna present tonight.
Okay.
I didn't want to violate any
And then maybe
discussions on the,
we'll make a copy for the recording secretary. Mark can do that, and we'll.
I have a copy for you. I can email it, Darlene, if that's easier.
I'll scan it,
The reason why I'm putting it back here is so that the Board of Selectmen can't really see it, but I don't have an easel with me, but it's just really for,
Yeah, why don't we get you an easel? Because what we really would like you to do is be on the microphone so that you can be recorded. I think
thank
that's
you very much.
probably important. Darlene will grab that. Maybe you can help.
Thank you very much. I have copies of letters of support from various commissions that I'm leaving with you so that all of you have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis.
I thought she went and got the one with the clips on it.
I have
You
some
just used it
clips.
today.
I can use that cardboard piece.
We have all, you know. No, there's one with clips on it, Rob. that-
I have some clips we can use. I have some clips.
Give one, take one and pass it down.
Is Darlene, maybe she's having something to eat or something.
you put over there so
So the people can see?
yeah.
Maybe on the side here? How can you get that?
Did you want me to,
You just might wanna focus in and get a picture of
while
it.
he's talking?
You know, if he refers to it, perhaps you can do that and then
Yeah.
refer back to him, you know, kind of.
Yeah, sure.
Mark, you gonna walk there or you wanna try to plug it?
Rob, you are
The
unbelievable.
pieces I'm gonna be talking about tonight, if I can
We're gonna talk over here, right into that.
The pieces I'm gonna be talking about tonight are this 45-acre piece next to the town's Darrell Pond property, this 7.2-acre piece that is part of the Darrell Pond property, this buffer easement here as well. So those are really the pieces 1, 2, and 3. These yellow lines represent the owner's rights through the property. So the town bought this Darrell Pond property, and I'm trying to add to my acquisition with taking the development rights of 74 affordable housing units off this 45-acre piece, taking this 7-acre piece to the town, and this would revert back to the owners of this piece should the town of East Lyme put an open space easement on this property. There are various other easements that restrict the Darrell Pond property that I'm gonna be talking about as well. So, that sort of outlines what I'm going to discuss. I hope everybody, does anybody have any questions on that?
You.
No, I thought that
Here.
we should allow Mr. Ellis to make his presentation. And then after he makes his presentation, if there are any limited questions, the board can ask those limited questions. But since it involves the prospective acquisition of property, that any discussions that may be in terms of negotiation or anything would be subject to executive session discussions. So, we're going to try and limit any questions to just eliciting some facts from Mr. Ellis as to what his presentation actually is, and his plan actually is.
But in terms of the easements that he refers to, that's not under any litigation
No,
oversight?
the easements are not,
Okay.
but the board should be aware that some of the acquisition involves easements that are held by New England National, with whom the town has pending litigation. But factually, Mr. Ellis can present what he wants to present.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna go back over here now.
Perfect. Thank you.
On behalf of the Woodsman Land Trust, which I represent and I'm chairman of, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this expanded open space and environmental initiative to the Board of Selectmen this evening, especially Mr. Formica, who's been shepherding this matter for me to get it before the Board of Selectmen. As you're aware, a portion of this opportunity, the Gurley Brook Preserve, has been reviewed and discussed by the board, the Planning Commission, the Inland Wetlands Agency, and the Conservation of Natural Resource Commission, each of whom voted to support the efforts of Woodsman Land Trust, and each of whom forwarded a recommendation letter to accompany the grant application that we discussed and we were intent on making to the Connecticut DEEP. Those letters of support I presented tonight. The DEEP Gurley Brook Preserve was approved and awarded in the amount of $500,000, subject to the receipt of a matching financial donation of at least equal that amount. As I began to reach out to potential donors for the required grant match, I initiated discussions with the holder of the long-term option to purchase the Gurley Brook Preserve property, whose intent was to residentially develop this property and into an affordable housing project, and still wants to do that. In an agreement with WLT to acquire additional property, which in large part was intended and approved by the town of East Lyme Commission to be used as a high-density residential development, this expanded opportunity is what brings me here this evening. Just for your information, on the Gurley Brook Preserve property, it's off of Egret Road, and it's this yellow line that is the Gurley Brook Preserve property. I'll just leave that up there so everybody can have a copy of that.
Thank you.
The Woodsman Land Trust is a Connecticut corporation operating under the 501c3 Internal Revenue Code as a public charity. It presently holds conservation easements located in the Niantic River watershed, both in Waterford and East Lyme, that we received from David Bingham. I myself own 300 acres with a couple of other guys that surround the Gurley Brook Preserve property that we've been acquiring for over 15 to 20 years, just to preserve and protect and have forestry initiatives. We've been working with the USDA. We've been working with various other organizations and carbon credit initiatives and other initiatives, what I hope to share with you tonight. This opportunity as an expanded open space initiative has contracted with New England National to purchase the following properties. They have an option on the 166-acre Gurley Brook Preserve property located on Goldfinch Circle, which I presented to you. 45 acres located on the Upper Patagonic Road, which is currently approved for 58 affordable housing units, but ultimately 74 housing units. It abuts East Lyme's Darrow Pond property at its westerly boundary. 7 acres on Darrow Pond property below on Mostowie Road, which represents the portion of Darrow Pond not owned by the town of East Lyme. In addition, as a condition of the above referenced purchase and sale agreement, WLT has obtained the contractual commitment from NEN, New England National, to release or relinquish numerous easements and other retained property rights that encumber and affect the town's Darrow Pond property, which include but are not limited to: 1, the access easement, which among several other things allows New England National and their affiliate to access by foot or motor vehicle on and across the Darrow Pond property owned by the town. The mutual use and maintenance easement, which among other things prevents public use of Darrow Pond. The so-called buffer easement, which prevents public or municipal use of approximately 6.5 acres fronting Darrow Pond at its northeasterly boundary. It also requires New England National to release the existing easement or otherwise provide for the public's ability to use Darrow Pond for recreational purposes, envisioned by the Darrow Pond Open Space Committee, which is presently prohibited to release its retained right to use Darrell Pond in its entirety for commercial purposes. Based on a preliminary conversation between the town and myself, it would be our intent to assign this option, the land purchase agreements as well as the land use rights agreements, to the town of East Lyme in a similar or identical manner the town recently utilized with the Trust for Public Land and the Darrell Pond Webster Bank purchase, with the significant difference being that WLT's ability to sign $500,000 DEEP grant and other financial commitments it has received to give to the town. The cost to acquire these property rights after application of the DEP grant is approximately $2.3 million. In considering providing the opportunity to the town of East Lyme, we familiarized ourselves with the Plan of Conservation, Land of Unique Value Study, the Community Survey of 2007, the Open Space Plan, the Long Range Capital Plan, the 2013-14 Budget Referendum. And as a result, we make the following observations for all of you. This opportunity provides for the expansion of the Darrell Pond property, including owning the entirety of Darrell Pond and 45 acres abutting the property westerly boundary, which is consistent with the East Lyme Community Survey, which endorsed large unfragmented forests and networks of footpaths connecting open space. The Darrell Pond property scored #1 in the revised open space vision plan table, which is updated by the Commission for the Conservation of Natural Resources. Furthermore, it provides for additional protection of Niantic Bay, Latimer Brook, and the Patagonia Aquifer, as well as the Patagonia watershed, and further provides for and is consistent with the initiatives involving the water quality of the Niantic River, Niantic Bay, Long Island Sound for current and future generations to the extinguishment of development rights of the properties being acquired. It provides for the release of easements on Darrell Pond property that are entirely inconsistent with the town and Darrell Pond Open Space Committee's vision for the property. Most important to me, and part of the reason why I'm here tonight, it provides for the ability for the town to apply for and obtain at least 2 additional grants up to the amount of $500,000. So the town, by clearing up these easements, acquiring the 45 acres, extinguishing the development rights, they can apply for a grant like we did on the Gurley Brook Preserve property for $500,000 up to it. They can look for, by organizing their land trust, a matching grant for $500,000 from private donations, bringing $1 million to the town to acquire that property. The second being that the Darrell Pond property itself, by placing a conservation easement on it now, would preclude the town from applying for another $500,000 $500,000 grant to the state of Connecticut. The town of East Lyme, by adding these properties, can apply for 2 $500,000 grant and also search for a private funder to match those grants, even though the town has already matched it by acquiring the Darrell Pond property. As you know, the assignment agreement between the Trust for Public Lands and the town of East Lyme, dated August 5th, 2011, provides for the imposition of a conservation easement to the state of Connecticut through the DEEP Open Space and Watershed Protection Grant Program should funds become available. It is the intention of the DEEP to announce another funded grant round in 60 days. It would be our suggestion to request a 12-month extension from the Trust for Public Land to place 200 acres into a permanent conservation. This would allow a conservation easement to be drafted to comply with the DEEP requirements. This proposed grant application would have an existing 7-to-1 match based on the town's financial commitment to date. It provides for the town of East Lyme to apply for carbon credits and forestry initiatives with values in excess of $300,000. For example, the property known as the Gurley Brook Preserve, we assessed $80,000 in forestry initiatives. What we did with our 300 acres, we have a forestry program where we've taken out bad oak trees and let our red, whites, and blacks grow so that we can harvest them and have our trees grow again. The value of our trees on that 300 acres is, according to our forester, $300,000 in the future. The point is, the big trees grow, the little ones drop, they grow. You start this initiative over and over again. Carbon credits is probably one of the most exciting features of what's happening in the forestry and in the world today. We have people polluting the world. We have oxygen coming from our trees. The New England Forest Foundation took 2,000 acres up in Maine and received $400,000 in the sale of their carbon credits. Town of East Lyme, Southeastern Council of Governments, but certainly the town of East Lyme, will have close to 2,000 acres and can apply for carbon credits. There's a cost of $30,000 to apply for those credits, but those credits are cyberspace credits, where you've got a bad polluter in Japan and you've got great oxygen coming out of our trees, and you can receive real dollars for those carbon credits. So let me summarize. You got two possibilities of grants of $500,000. You can provide private donations of $500,000 that would bring into the town $2 million, I think over $500,000 in carbon credits and forestry initiatives. This opportunity is also consistent with the saying that, and I say this because I've watched my career grow, that none of us are going to be here in 100 years, and I fully appreciate that. One of the hardest things to do as a chairman of a foundation that has helped needy cancer families over 25 years now is to get people to understand new revenue plans or new revenue initiatives. And it takes capital to start those new revenue plans and new revenue initiatives. After 25 years, we're successful because we constantly changed and we constantly produced new revenue initiatives. I understand and appreciate and sensitive to the cost of this transaction. That is time-sensitive opportunity, given the fact that my contract with New England National expires at year end and was agreed to by the seller primarily based on certain tax incentives related to the sale of open space lands that expire on December 31, 2013. Let me explain that. Mark can probably attest to this, that if you have a chunk of land and you donate it to a trust, you get a 50% deduction if you do it by 2013 versus 2014, and you get to carry it forward for 15 years versus 7 years the following year. Many towns in our region have been and continue to utilize the Deep Open Space Program, private foundation, and philanthropic donors to finance a substantial percentage of these types of open space acquisition. East Haddam, Salem, Old Lyme, Groton, Stonington are a few examples of towns that have consistently made multiple applications to the DEP, and at present, to the west of us in Old Saybrook, Westbrook, and Essex, the Trust for Public Land is embarking on approximately $11 million fundraising campaign to place 1,000 acres in conservation. Additionally, to our east in Mystic, the Trust for Public Land and Denison Nature Center